All right, what's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another live stream. How are we all doing? Apologies for the slightly late start. Was just dealing with a couple technical issues, but let me know how everything is in this live stream today, ladies and gents. Shout out to Kai Dragon from the Netherlands, saying, the Netherlands here. I love your shows. Walk on. Absolute legend. You already know it, mate. Before we start streaming, we had this treadmill going. That's exactly what we're doing. How are you guys doing? How are we doing, guys, today in this live chat? Let me know if everything's good. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Can you see my chart? We've got a very interesting live stream today. We finally saw a continuation. Bitcoin dumped from $72,000 down to 68. And then just kind of consolidated for 3 days in your very, very classic continuation pattern before continuing on down. And we're now at our critical $67,000 price zone. So that is definitely exciting. If you are excited for this live stream, then do me a favor and smash those likes up. We've only got 16 likes here. That is just not acceptable, ladies and gents. We gotta push that higher. We gotta push that higher. So if you are excited for this one, if you've been finding the previous live streams, videos, and so on useful, do me a favor, show this live stream a little bit of love. We're streaming at a very strange time of day. I'm almost never streaming at this time of day. Sometimes I'm not even awake at this time of day. But we are here now. Happiness Waka, good day from Nigeria. Shout out to my Nigerian followers. Greetings from Guatemala. It's 5 a.m. in Guatemala. Wow, you are dedicated, dude. Good stuff. Alex from Portugal, what's up? Sage from Scottsdale, Arizona. Man, I love Scottsdale. Arizona is one place that I just fell in love with the moment I went there. I don't know what it was. Darren Kirby, well, we're here again. Yes, sir. We got Sandy from Switzerland. What's up, ladies and gents? Thank you all for tuning in. Once more, if you are looking forward to this one, do me a favor and smash those likes up. Prime from Prime from Norway. Jan is saying we will have a big drop in June and a big boom in September, according to Astro. Does that mean astrology? Is that astrological analysis that we're talking about now? Fair enough. I'm not going to knock it. I've seen some pretty crazy shit have pretty impressive success rates in my 7 years of trading. Eric from Ireland. Hey, Sammy, any chance you can look at Algo? We will take a look at altcoins a little bit later on. Just remind me later on in the stream, please. And because you asked, I'll definitely do that. It's too early to say, but it looks like the support level is having a hard time. I agree, Pablo. That's exactly what I think is going on with this market right now. And we hit that 72k zone, which was kind of where we were expecting a little bit of resistance. And so far, I'm most interested in like where these wicks went, right? Because I've always got a little bit of tolerance with my support levels. And, this tolerance here allows for 1%. That was 1% below the kind of middle of this range that I've got drawn out. And we haven't kind of overshot that yet. So I guess I could say that this is like my hard stop. If the price goes any lower than this, then I would definitely have to be concerned. We're going to make that a dotted line. And I'm just gonna move that ever so slightly just to that wick right there. And to be honest, that's kind of where I would tolerate Bitcoin falling down to, and I'd say it's still the same support zone, right? And that's basically 66,400. I'm okay with that. The whole range is support, right? And we can look at it from a different perspective. I can actually go ahead and remove that Ichimoku cloud in the background, and all of a sudden this is a much easier chart to look at. But I can also go ahead and throw the fixed range volume profile on here. And that's also going to tell us a little bit about where the support is. You see, we've got our point of control up here at 67.7. But it obviously got pulled up because we had this nice upward price action. And we kind of stayed up here, even in this consolidation, for some time. But what you can see from the fixed range volume profile is that our spike starts here. My god, I can't draw a straight line. Our spike starts here, and it kind of tapers off here, right? So this is kind of the range that we're looking at, and that gives us support all the way down to $66,000. You know, the best way for me to show this to you, because I got shaky hands on this treadmill, is this right here. You know, this is where the first big part of the spike ends, which is basically the very bottom where we are at right now. And this is where the entire kind of spike ends. So I'm quite happy with both interpretations of this level. But basically, yeah, this nice big box here. What are we making this box? Make it a darker blue. This is an entire support zone for Bitcoin. And I think it's a very important support zone for Bitcoin. I'm not worried about Bitcoin until and unless it loses this level. If it does lose this level, we're probably going to dump town. There are some support levels beneath, like 63k, 64k. And they could definitely support Bitcoin. You know, maybe you end up producing something a little bit like this. Produce a swing failure pattern here, and then continue back up. I'm not going to be that optimistic, though. I am going to say that if we do lose this range, which is very, very important support for Bitcoin, if we do lose it, I am going to have to expect the low 60s. And that would be our most critical zone of support. It would not be our strongest zone of support. In my opinion, our strongest zone of support is right here. But it would be the most critical one. Because if we lose it, see, if we lose this level, to me, the worst case scenario is we drop by about 7k. We lose this level, and the best case scenario is that we lose 8k. And we fall down here to the $52,000 price zone. That's the best case scenario, in my opinion. If we, you know, you could bounce off this area here, but I don't think so. I think we head down to the low 50s, and actually, realistically, I think we would be heading down into the 40s if we lose the 60k zone. That's what I would be seeing if we lose the 60k range, because you know we've been trading sideways for quite some time, and we've had some pretty good setups on this market to actually pump up. Shout out to those of you that are tuning in live today. If you are enjoying this one so far, welcome. Smash up those likes as you are coming in. I don't know how long we're going to be going on for in this live stream. Looks like this is just a bad time to be streaming. I don't usually stream at this time, but yeah, you know, I think one of the big things that we've got to keep in mind is, you see, this market has had over 100 days to consolidate now, and then produce that breakout. And not only has it had 100 days to produce that breakout, but it's also really tried to produce the breakout. I mean, just very recently, we were, you know, peaking here in the low 70k range, you know, right below that all-time high. And so to me, if the market turns around and says, actually, none of that was good enough, and we need to go below the 60k range now, that would actually be really bearish to me, because it's like saying that we put in our best efforts, and we really tried, and we had a good thing going for us, but it still wasn't enough. And if none of that is enough, then to me, we need to do a lot more bearish stuff first before we can start moving up. That's kind of... Does that make sense? Can you guys let me know in the live chat if what I just said makes sense? It's basically like there's so much good stuff that we did, and the market would be telling us that, no, mate, it's not enough. Right? And so we're going to have to take a much more scenic route to get back up to the all-time high. And that's why I think that if we do lose the 60k range, that we are going to be looking at, you know, I think very likely the 40s here. And it's just going to, mate, it would be the healthiest thing by far for the market. It would be so good for the market if we ended up producing that kind of a drop. I mean, it would be just amazing. It would really set a lot of things straight. It would really make the market healthy in a lot of ways. And it would probably pave the path for us to have a fucking face-melting explosion. I mean, just absolutely insane explosion. You know, way beyond 100k, in my opinion, if we ended up retracing back down to the 40s, right? I mean, it would be the most bullish thing you could ask for. But, of course, it would be quite horrible in the meantime. Now, look, I don't want to jump too far ahead. We still haven't even lost the 67k range. We're only testing it now. And, of course, like I always say, support is support, and resistance is resistance. So, you know, before we even start talking about all of that, we've got a good few support levels between us and that 40k range. Again, just to recap very quickly, it's 63, 64, 60k, 52, you get 48 and 44 down here, right? Those are the kind of levels that I'm looking at. And I think they're very obvious levels. I think they're very, very easy levels to identify and trust, or not trust, but to expect. But yeah, we still haven't even broken this one yet. And the thing about this level is we are, and I said this to you earlier, we are just in a typical parallel channel right now. So this is still good. You know, I was telling you guys that if the market from here, I was telling you if it comes down here, let me know in the live chat. You guys know I said this. I said even if the market comes down here to 67K, we're just keeping this sideways range in play, right? And so it's actually nothing bad at all to me. It's actually, if anything, it's going to be a good thing. Keeping this sideways range in play. That's what you want to see. So what we need to do is produce that bounce now. Like I said, support is support, right? So if you are expecting support to behave as it should for a third time, this will be a third time, or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could call it 5 times depending on how picky you want to be. But I think it's fair to say this would just be the third attempt of our support since we got above it. If that kind of thing is important to you, and you think that you like to respect it, which in my opinion would be closer to correct in most cases, because you know it's edgy and it's fun to be like, yeah, you know, the level's gonna collapse now. But realistically, in these markets, you're gonna get more chances where the level actually holds than you're gonna get chances where the level collapses. Right? That's just my experience, and that's the fact that what I've said is correct is precisely what makes it possible for us to trade. So, you know, I think that's an important point, which we've got to kind of focus ourselves on just a little bit here in this live stream today. Are we going to see an eventual spike to the upside? That's the question, isn't it, sir? That's the question. You know, and like I said, this support zone is where you would expect that bounce to come in. So let's take a look at a couple of indicators and see if we're getting any kind of confirmation from them. We failed the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, but we weren't expecting magic from this because it was too thin. So I'm okay with that. The daily time frame, we still haven't hit our support. We still have not hit our support. We've hit it twice so far. We bounced off the very bottom over here. We got above it, and then we bounced off the middle of the cloud. And so far, we haven't hit the cloud again. If we're able to hold this level for the next 20 or so days, we are going to be able to enjoy support at this price level, but that's probably not going to happen. Maybe we go sideways, and then it happens like that. That'd actually be great, but, you know, that's a lot of wishful thinking at this point. Look at this daily candle, though. I mean, granted, we got 12 hours left on this daily candle. The S&P 500 hasn't even opened yet. Let's take a look at what that was doing yesterday. S&P 500 was open yesterday. And it's just kind of consolidating at an all-time high. So, you know, to me, that's pretty damn bullish. You know, that's telling me that this is still a super, super healthy environment for crypto. You know, if S&P 500 is looking this good, you know, it's probably looking like it just wants to pop upward. I think the dollar is up by a little bit today. Take a look at that. Yeah, it was moving up just throughout the course of today. And Friday. So despite the dollar moving up, the S&P 500 is still looking good. So interesting times, right? Interesting times. We've got interest rate cuts potentially being around the corner. Got a couple of the viewers in the live chat talking about the FOMC meeting. If it has a good outcome, I think 67 will hold. I agree. I agree. Can I look at USDT dominance? USDT.D. This is the dominance of USDT in the market, showing you how many people are hedging. And it's been building up a little bit, but only after it dropped massively. Honestly, it looks like it's just going to drop again as it trades into that 5% range. This is clearly a zone of resistance for the dollar on this dominance chart, and we're entering it again. So I don't know, like I say, support is support and resistance is resistance, ladies and gents. But let's bring it back to this chart. I want to focus on this a little bit more. I'm not done here. Let's zoom in back onto the hourly. We took a look at the daily Ichimoku cloud. Now let's look at some of our momentum. 4-hour momentum, we lost it, but we didn't have a spread anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Daily momentum, we are in it. We are in it. even up to now. But we cannot go lower than where we are now. I mean, I'll tolerate a wick. Alright, I'll tolerate a wick as low as the bottom of this box, which is 65.8, 65.9. I'll tolerate a wick. But, and like I said, we got 12 hours left on this candle, so, you know, this is not the time to call doom and gloom and to be super worried. Especially, like I said, now that we are at support. You know, you would expect the dump to be strong until you reach support. And I think that's really important, right? I want you guys to take a step back for a second and, you know, look at this chart and just ask yourself, does this scare you? Seeing how aggressive this dump has been. And I totally understand if it does scare you, but what you must understand, and it will be at your own peril, it will be signing your own death warrant if you don't understand it. What you must understand is that when you are traveling between zones of support, you are hopefully going to move quickly. Okay? And the quicker you move, the better, because imagine you were trading it. Alright? If you're trading it, you want these moves to happen quickly because, at least for me, maybe I'm the only one who's got my head screwed on here, but I think you guys will agree with me. I don't want to be in trades. I don't. I want to limit the time that I'm in a trade as much as possible, because when I'm in a trade, my capital is at risk. So what I'm most interested in doing is getting into the market, riding a wave quickly, and booking my 20%, 60%, 2000%, whatever it's going to be today. I want to book that profit quickly, and then get the fuck back out, so that my capital's no longer at risk. I want to get in, make my money, and leave. That's it. As quickly as possible. If I can do it in an hour, I want to do it in an hour. If I can do it in a day, I want to do it in a day. And if it needs to happen across a year, like my long from 21k, then so be it. But ultimately, I like to keep my capital out of risk. Like I said, maybe it's just something to do with my head being screwed on. I don't know. You guys tell me, but I think many of you guys will agree with me. And so we like this kind of quick price action. This is what we're looking for as traders. You know, we want to quickly travel between these ranges because it means the market will resolve itself quickly. And it means that we get to the fun part quickly. And we're living in the fun part too, because we're trending. So this is very, very good. And it's very much expected. You want to do this as you travel down to your support zones. I'm talking to you guys about this from the perspective of actually trading it, right? Like, it's one thing, and it's super fun to just do the analysis, and I agree. But it's another thing to make money off it and have a Ferrari parked downstairs. So that's what I like to do. That's where I live. Okay, smash up the likes for that, ladies and gents. If you are finding this live stream useful so far, we're nearly up to 100 likes. Let's push that higher. Let's see if we can smash through 150. We got 350 viewers here. Got a couple of amazing viewers here saying that they love the treadmill. Jason Casper does that too. Yes, sir. I got the idea from Jason Casper. Absolute legend. El Thoro, man is a beast. Sandy, yeah, I love the treadmill. It's not annoying at all. I don't know if that's sarcastic, but I hope it's not. I love the treadmill because I'll tell you what, these steps are effortless and they still get the job done. I'm more toward like 15 to 20,000 steps a day, which I've been loving. Where are we at now? Just wait for this to load up. Yeah, I'm at 1,700 steps since shortly before this live stream. So that's free steps, mate. What are you talking about? 1,700 steps is great. That's amazing. You know, I mean, people do this. Yeah, whatever. We'll talk about that stuff later. But let's get back to the chart here, because, you know, it's been a strong dump down to the support level. But like I said, you know, support is where you'd expect stuff to start changing. So look, I don't hold the answers, right? I don't know if it's actually going to hold, but I don't jump in front of moving trains. I don't jump in front of, you know, literally the most easy way to do analysis ever, which is anticipating support at support and anticipating resistance at resistance, especially in an uptrend. You know, it's just not the kind of thing I want to fade. But like I said, if we do lose it, you know, we've got a little bit of support in between at 63, 64, but for the most part, I think we're down to 60. Any situation is good. But if we do manage to get a bounce here, I think what I really like about this particular setup is a long entry right here allows me to very comfortably put a stop loss not even that far away, like 1.6% away, comfortably. I'd be happy to put my stop loss there, 65.8. But I'm standing to gain quite a bit of upside here. Let's actually get the real long and short tool, so I can show you what that would look like here. Because this is a trade setup that I'd actually personally be quite interested in taking. You guys are getting huge bonuses with the exchanges linked in the description below. Bybit is going to give you up to $30,000, and you can trade spot coins for free. Like, you can buy and sell coins normally for free, which is sick. You're going to get that when you start trading using my link. Those of you that are already signed up using my link, you will get your bonus after you make your deposit and start trading. And Blowfin's the same deal, but they're no KYC. So they're not going to ask you for a picture of yourself or a picture of your ID. Phenomenal exchange. I actually just recorded a tutorial for them yesterday. And you'll see that out on this channel soon. But you don't actually need the tutorial. I think many of you guys watching this stream, you've been around for a while. Shout out to Alex. Sorry, have to leave. Thanks, Sammy. Love your streams. You're very, very welcome, sir. Come catch the replay later on. But we'll be here for you, mate, when you're back. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, Blowfin here. Definitely check it out. Phenomenal. No KYC option. Great exchange here. Just started working with them recently. But, you know, and the reason I brought this up is there's just free money, right? So you can just kind of pick any trade setup that you're interested in. And you don't even have to care if it's a good one or not, because you're not trading with your own money, but you will take home the profits. So it's really, really cool, right? And if you do want to get those bonuses, you just have to start trading using these links. So it's super cool. But we bring it back here, and, you know, the reason I quite like this setup is, you know, I would probably look for an entry basically right around here. I'd be happy with this entry. I mean, you could even fish a little bit lower. But I'd put my stop loss right around here. So this is about 65 point something. 65.7 I'm happy with. Could even go a little bit tighter. 65.8. That's a 1.6% loss. I put my target up here at 71,000 flat. 6% upside. That's a risk to reward of 4. For every dollar I risk, I stand to make $4. That's huge. That's really good. And it's at a support level. So this is the kind of trade that I would have to take just out of principle. Not saying I will take it. Not going to make that decision on a live stream. But, you know, it's the kind of trade that I would have to, just out of principle. Because it's so clean. Because it's support. You know, because the upside is great. And because the downside isn't so bad. And this, you know, I could do this on 10x leverage. Comfortably 10x leverage, because that's a 16% loss on the downside, and it's 61% upside here, and that's only to the first target. I guess if I'm super conservative, I could set my first target here, and I've still got a 2.5 risk to reward ratio, right? And the reason I'd be setting it here is because this could be a bit of a local top, but I would target the top of this range. I would, and I'd probably just close it all. I would close a little bit down here at a measly 30%. You know, and by the way, I wanna stress something very important to you guys. I've said this to you guys before, but let's take a starting balance. Ladies and gents, give me a starting balance in the live chat. Maybe it's your starting balance, maybe it's just a random number. But give me a starting balance. I gotta prove something mathematical to you guys for a second. Something that you already know, but something which I think is worth literally interrupting the live stream for to run with this. So I'm gonna go with 500 USD here. Actually, we'll go with Jason's saying 1,000. We got a couple thousands. We got 500s. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 1,000. It's just easier. Let's just go with 1,000. And this is what a 30% profit would look like, right? And that's kind of the first target that I was just talking about. This is what a 30% profit would look like. Now, if we can put this to the power of 3, for example, that means you've pulled 3 of them in a row. Your $1,000 becomes 2,200. Okay, and that's only after 3 30% profits. And again, to put that into perspective of how easy that is to achieve, this is not going to be so easy in practice, all right? Let's not get silly with it, but I'm just kind of proving some points about the math here for a second. You know, from here up to just 69,000 flat, which is such a close price level. I mean, it's only $2,000 away. I mean, it's a little fluctuation. That's all it is. You know, 10x leverage will turn that into a sorry guys, my apologies for that. 10x leverage will turn that into a a beautiful 30% profit. Okay? And that 30% profit, you pull them off 3 times in a row and you've doubled your money. And we can take $500 as well. We've got a couple people saying 500 in the live chat too. And it doesn't matter what number you take. You're making double your money with 3 of those in a row. Again, in practice, you're not going to get 3 of them in a row. You know, or you might, but you might also lose your money 3 times in a row, and you might have anything in between. So, you know, it's very much not going to work like this in reality. But you can start to understand how easy it can be, and how quickly it can transform your account balance too. So you really don't want to fade these kind of profit opportunities, you know, when there's an easy 30% waiting to be scooped up. That's my point. It's not about this current price action. It's not about this current chart setup. I couldn't care less. It's about the principle of respecting those 30%, because they will pay you better than your home runs will pay you. They will. They will pay you better than your home runs. They simply will. And the reason they will pay you better than your home runs is because you're going to get them a hell of a lot more often than your home runs. They're just a lot easier to get than the 2,000%. You know? Those kind of things. They're just easier to achieve. And if they're easier to achieve, it means you can do them over and over and over and compound your account. And that's exactly where we want to live. We want to live in that compounding zone. So that's amazing, ladies and gents. Smash up the likes for that if you found that to be interesting or useful. It is something that I live with. We're close to 150 likes. Let's close in on that. We only need 25 more. So that's amazing. But yeah, so like I said, some pretty good opportunities there. Definitely check them out. You got the link to Blowfin with the description below. Free cash that you're going to be able to trade with, which is absolutely sick when you sign up and start trading using my link below. But yeah, really, really nice support zone here. If we do start to bounce up, then I will be anticipating the top of this range again. And I think that's also kind of supported by what's happening with the S&P 500. I'm going to have to come back here and look at the S&P 500 when it opens. Unfortunately, I won't be here with you on a live stream when it happens in an hour and 40. But I will come back later on today if there's an update to give you. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss it. And yeah, I think if the S&P 500 is looking good today, that's probably just going to help Bitcoin move a little bit higher. We saw some interesting moves on Bitcoin's dominance. It did move up to 55.6 and has now pulled back just a little bit. So Bitcoin's dominance continuing to move up. I've been telling you guys I'm expecting this since we were in a completely different zone with the Bitcoin's dominance in the 40s. You know, and basically since here I was also telling you, look, it looks like it's curving back up. So, you know, I don't know if it's going to be now or if it's still going to take some time. But I am certainly expecting that we end up hitting this 60% range. Ethereum against Bitcoin has continued to slide. But if you're bullish, this doesn't have to scare you too much. We've got a lot of tolerance until it's over. You know, this is a big support zone, the way I've drawn it. It stretches from 0.51 up to 0.54, which is, you know, probably like a 7% range. What is it? Yeah, 6.7% range. That's a pretty, you know, pretty generous range here to capture some support. But it is sliding down, and the nature of these slides is that they just kind of always continuously slowly slide lower, and then they get the big spike, and then it happens again and again and again, right? So for that reason alone, this spike is nothing crazy to me. It's actually quite like this spike here. And it's why I'm still bearish. I'm bearish on Ethereum. I'm not bearish on Ethereum against the dollar. Obviously, against the dollar, I think it's going to gain a lot. Like, whether that's short-term, mid-term, or long-term, I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum. But what I'm bearish on Ethereum for is its price against Bitcoin. Because what I'm most interested in is obviously accumulating Bitcoin. And if it's going to get weaker against Bitcoin, then yeah, I might still make some money against the dollar, but I don't care about the dollar. I care about Bitcoin. And that's what this chart shows me, is that it's got a really bad setup against Bitcoin now, going back to mid-2022. And we're now in mid-2024. So that's 2 years of a continuous downtrend here, which might sound like a lot. It might even sound like too much. But ultimately, the primary reason that I remain bearish on Ethereum against Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's not done yet, ladies and gents. It's just that simple. Bitcoin ain't done yet. Okay? And if Bitcoin's not done yet, that means that Bitcoin can easily blast through levels like 70k, 80k, 90k, 100k, melt our faces. Even now, you know, I was talking to you about how if we go down to 40k, it's going to be an amazing rally back up, and it's just going to like melt our faces in terms of how explosive it is once we break the all-time high, if we do it, because nothing is guaranteed. And I stand by that. But even what we've done now, with over 100 days of consolidation between 60 and 70k, that's still enough to produce a huge breakout. I mean, we did that when we were at 25 to 30k. We were trading there for 7 months. So far here, it's been about 3.5 months. So basically half. And that consolidation produced one of the biggest breakouts I've ever seen in my life. Certainly by percentage, certainly by dollar gain. We went from 30k up to 74. I mean, that's a $44,000 increase. That just doesn't happen. You know, that just doesn't happen. And we've now done half of that already with our current consolidation. So whether we break out now or we break out in another 3 months or whatever it might be, if we do get the breakout, and I'm sure eventually it's going to come, I'm sure that you agree with me too, it is eventually going to come, regardless of when that happens, you're looking at quite likely an explosive breakout. I mean, just something huge. Like, you're going to get paid for waiting. That's what I'm saying. That's the conclusion here. If the market makes you wait, you're going to get paid, mate. That's just how it works in my experience. I've been doing this for 7 years plus. 7 years plus. If the market makes you wait, or if the market hurts you, you are going to get paid afterwards. That's the game. That's the joy here, right? So, if that's going to happen, then Bitcoin is going to explode upward. Why would you want to trade anything else other than Bitcoin? Okay, and the Bitcoin's dominance chart proves this to us, because Bitcoin started looking really bullish here. Take a look at this, right? We're on the weekly, we're on the daily here for Bitcoin's dominance. We're on the daily here for Bitcoin's price. Now, where does Bitcoin's dominance bottom? Look at that, at the fucking market bottom. At the exact market bottom is where Bitcoin's price, is where Bitcoin's dominance bottoms as well. You cannot make this up. I mean, it's right in front of you. Smash up the likes for this, ladies and gents, because this is huge. This is a big, big deal. You cannot make this up. Bitcoin's dominance hits its absolute low the very same time that Bitcoin's price hits its low. And what does that mean? If this doesn't really make sense, if you're not really following me here, what am I getting at? Well, let me explain it to you, sir. Or madam. Let me explain it to you. What it means is that when Bitcoin over here on the right hand side starts trending up, and when Bitcoin starts looking strong, nobody wants to hold their altcoins anymore. Why would you be in the altcoin market when Bitcoin is making you money? The only thing you're doing is taking on additional risk to make less money. Sorry guys, I've had a bit of a bad throat. Like, that is absolutely huge. And you can't ignore that. The only thing you're doing in the market, if you're staying in altcoins, is taking on additional risk to make less money. It makes no sense. Everybody knows that it makes no sense. There are going to be exceptions. People that are too emotionally invested, people that have married their bags and stuff like that, there are going to be exceptions. That's their business. I've been there. I understand that. Still not right. It's still not going to serve you. But there are going to be people who operate like that. But for the most part, the charts are in front of you. The numbers don't lie. When Bitcoin is bullish, nobody's interested in altcoins. And they sell their altcoins. And their altcoins get weaker against Bitcoin. They might gain against the dollar, but what does it matter if you're taking on additional risk to make less money? Right? And this doesn't mean that I'm like super anti-altcoin. I am. But what it means is that now is just not the time for me personally to be interested in those altcoins. I will be interested in them later, and you best believe I'm going to get very aggressive with them, because I think there will be a time where all of this money in Bitcoin is going to be so fucking happy, so ecstatic, so over the moon. That money is going to feel so smart. It's going to feel so reckless that, because, you know, you talk about like people who don't have money immediately making a large amount of money. They're just going to get cocky as fuck, right? Like, it's just going to be messy that money is going to get really greedy. That money is going to get really, really arrogant. And the only thing that that arrogant, greedy, confident money does is it takes more risk. And how do you take more risk in crypto if you're in Bitcoin? You buy alts, right? So I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're going to get there. And I think a great candidate for when we get there will be the 60% range that I've been talking about for quite some time. That's how I think we're going to get there, right? And then maybe there, maybe higher, maybe lower. I don't know. I can't see the future, but hopefully somewhere around there at minimum is what I'm expecting. And then money starts flowing back into altcoins. But I'll tell you what, it's not even about Bitcoin's dominance chart. It's about Bitcoin's price. Because as long as you're still seeing a price explosion with Bitcoin, as long as you're still seeing potential for it, or as long as it's still actively happening, you don't have a reason to be in altcoins. And again, this chart proves it to you better than I can. When Bitcoin is trending up, people are consistently dropping their altcoins. It's right in front of you. So how can I be bullish on Ethereum? I'm looking at a chart setup here where if we hold 67K, I think we blast off. If we hold 60K, I think we blast off. If we don't hold either of those and we collapse down to 40 or even 30, I still think we blast off. And so in any of these situations, the best case scenario is that you're going to get a mini alt season. And mini alt seasons are still great. That's still life-changing money. But it's nothing compared to the real thing. Right? It's nothing compared to the real thing. And so to me, like, no matter which way I look at it, there is a huge bullish price explosion on the horizon for Bitcoin. It might take a short amount of time from here. It might take a hell of a lot longer. That is something I can't tell you, and that is something I don't know. But what I do think is that it's going to happen. And if it does happen, then I have to expect that Bitcoin's dominance is going to continue to go up. That's my thesis here. And that's what I've been getting at with you guys for a very long time right here on this YouTube channel. That is exactly it, ladies and gents. Smash up the likes for that, because I think that is absolutely huge. I think that is a big, big deal here in the market, and something which definitely ought to be considered in this market here. Let me know what you guys think about that in the live chat. I've got ultra low latency here. We've just smashed through 150 likes. You absolute legends. Thank you very much. Smash them up if you're finding this live stream useful. We're at 3,500 steps. I'm quite happy with that. Lots of bonus steps today. Hit like 8,000 steps after midnight. I was on the phone with a friend for hours, just walking around the neighborhood, getting those steps in. And we're not stopping. We're not stopping now either. But yeah, you know, that's what I think. And that's why I feel so confident about what I say. And it's why I think Ethereum is still facing problems here, and why it may continue to face problems for some time to come. You know, I do think that it's a good setup, and I do actually think that it's very tradable. Like I said, huge bonuses available with these links below. Blowfin is a no KYC exchange, and you can actually trade Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever you like, with cash bonuses, which is super, super cool. These guys have got great tech. They are not a white labeled exchange, so they stand on their own, which is very important. Very, very important. And if you like Bybit, then check it out, because you're getting huge bonuses here too. You can actually buy Ethereum against Bitcoin for free whenever you feel like that time is right. Again, if you want to get your bonuses on Bybit or on Blowfin, you've got to make your deposit and start trading, and you're going to get them. And that is beautiful. Right there. Love it. So, there we go. If we move it back to the Ethereum Bitcoin chart here and just take a look, I do still think that there's a lot of potential for this thing to slide lower, but I do also acknowledge that this isn't a zone of support, and support is where bounces happen. Take a look at some of the bounces we've seen before. They're generally quite lackluster, but this is still where bounces happen. And we've got this 0.6 level about over here, which I think is very important to break for Ethereum. I think if Ethereum can break this 0.6 BTC level, then I'm going to say that my analysis has been invalidated, but I'm still not going to be bullish. I'm just going to step back. That's probably what I would do. We got a question, what makes the treadmill? I cannot tell you. I can't tell you, but it's just, you know, you'll find it on Amazon. Just check it on Amazon. You want to get a treadmill which is wide. That's the only thing I'll say. You don't want a thin treadmill. Mine is a little bit thin, and sometimes you'll step on the edges, and that can be a little bit scary. Obviously, we've all done that before by accident in the gym. It's not really that big of a problem, but definitely the wider the better. But yeah, big ugly daily candle here so far. We really need to see this thing stop here. And if it does stop here, I think it could look pretty good. Here's another one that's interesting. This is also, of course, tradable on Bybit, and I think obviously probably quite likely on Blowfin too. Binance Coin is now down to a beautiful zone of support. I was actually talking to you guys about this on a recent live stream. Shout out to those of you that remember. And it has now fallen down to a beautiful, beautiful zone of support. We were previously finding pretty hefty resistance here. Let's go ahead and take a fixed range volume profile look at this with the 4-hour time frame. And I want to see, I mean, it's right here, isn't it? Yeah, point of control down at 586. I don't know if we're actually going to get down that low. But this is definitely a clean setup, either right now or slightly lower. You know, quite comfortably something which I could, you know, I'd either, yeah, maybe let's say enter here just for now. I'll move that later. Probably put a stop loss below these spikes at about 570. And I would target, as a first target, I would target this high. So that's a 2-to-1 risk to reward. That's not great. But my main target would be the previous high that we just set. And that's a 5.5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I'd be risking 3.8%. And I'd stand to make 21%. That's beautiful. Absolutely great. Very, very strong setup. If I decide to enter now, I've still got a 3.4 risk to reward. I'm seeing 18% upside, 19% upside for 6%, 5% risk. And if I enter at the POC, point of control, I got 23% upside. I've got a 12 risk to reward. It's very strong. It's a very strong setup, that's for sure. Again, all tradable on the exchanges that I'm looking at. I don't know if I would take this one yet either. I don't really make decisions like this on stream. That's not really what I do. But, I mean, it does look good. It does look good. And it's also all-time high territory. That's why I'm pointing it out to you. Actually, from this perspective, it's pretty ugly. But there are still 5 days left on this weekly candle. But yeah, I think if we look at it on the daily, it's very clear. You know, Binance Coin has never traded this high before. Like, it did set an all-time high recently. And now it's kind of back testing it, right? So that doesn't in itself mean that it's worthy of a trade. But I think when you see just how nice this zone is, it's definitely an attractive setup. Perhaps, you know, there's a fib somewhere here where if it does bounce up, it would come up to see like the 61.8 fib and then drop down, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you are bearish, you would potentially be looking for something that looks a little bit like this, right? You'll see the 60. My bad, I drew that the wrong way. You'd potentially see the 61.8 fib. Wow. Look at how perfectly I drew that. What the hell? Look at that. I didn't even see it before. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. I'm proud of myself. I'm very proud of myself. Just predicted where that 6 on 8 would be. Nice. But yeah, you know, that would be, even if you're bearish, you might still have to expect something like that, because that's just how the markets move. You know, they move and they kind of print those kind of like mountaintops that look a little bit like this, and then you kind of move down. That's quite normal. So, you know, that's something that I'd be looking out for, even if I was bearish. But I'm not bearish. I'm still bullish on this. So I think that's cool. I think other coins are not doing as well. Let's take a look at Matic. Now down at the bottom of its range. To be fair, this is support though. This is support. See, that's the thing, is like this is quite an important decision point for these markets now, I think, from a couple different perspectives, because, you know, if you are still somewhat bullish, then the market is giving you some pretty nice long entries, and it's just like, well, do you have the balls to take them, mate? That's really the question, isn't it? That's really the question. Something else I wanted to point out to you guys from earlier on in this live stream. You know, these dumps were quick, and each time it was down to a crucial zone of support, right? So here we dumped very, very quickly, but it ended right at our support that I had already drawn on this particular chart. And then here it ended right at this zone of support, right? So again, quick dumps are not a bad thing. Quick pumps are not a bad thing in and of themselves, especially when they just take you to the key level you wanted to see anyway. It's actually really, really good. I'm going to go through a couple of altcoins now. I got a request for Algo very early on in the live stream from one of our viewers here. So let's take a quick look at Algo. Again, it looks like it's in the exact same position at a very, very nice zone of support. Wow, macro, phenomenal zone of support here for Algo. Yeah, you can't fault it. I mean, if it loses this level, then kiss it goodbye. This thing is fucking dead. But if it holds this level, then I mean, you've got really, really good upside. It's not something I would buy though, and the reason it's not something I would buy is because I don't like buying dead charts. There's many coins that haven't died, so I wouldn't look at the one which has. But with that said, if you have reason to believe that Algo's good, maybe you've got some good information, or you believe that the tech is good, or whatever the case might be, then yeah, I mean, I would love this chart personally. It's a very, very good zone of support. Pretty clean. I don't think I would go long on it or anything. It looks like the wicks can be pretty nasty at this price zone, but well, they're not that bad actually. The wicks are not that bad, but no, I mean, it looks like a good bounce zone. It does. It looks like a good bounce zone. It looks like it could be ready to roll over though. It does look like it could be ready to roll over. It's not. I don't like how much it's relying on this support zone. That's definitely a very bad sign. But as it is, yeah, it's still at support, so that's cool. Take a look at Tia, another request from the live chat. Shout out to those of you that are watching this live. Thank you all very much for tuning in here with me today. It would be a lot lonelier without you guys. And let's extend this out. And yeah, we'll just take it to the front of the chart. Actually, that's not very useful. We'll take it here. Yeah, so we got the value area low here. It's the same chart setup, right? It's the same chart setup. It's got way more downside if it goes wrong. Way more downside. It's a very bad chart from that particular perspective. But if it does manage to bounce up, that next big zone of resistance is about 33% away, which is nice. I don't really like Tia. I don't like the way Tia behaves, but it's a good chart. Again, like if you're bullish on these things, then these coins are at their final zones of support in a lot of cases. So that's something which I think is, going to be interesting to some people who like to pick up coins when they're low. A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people feel like they shouldn't for good reason. And a lot of people don't feel anything, and they just do it because it's low. And those are typically the people that make money. That doesn't mean this is the time to do it. It does not mean this is the time to do it, not at all. But, yeah, you're going to make your own decisions. That's the beauty here, isn't it? So, ladies and gents, if we have any final questions, please drop them in the live chat below. If we have anything that you want to discuss with me for Bitcoin, I don't really want to keep on taking altcoin suggestions because they're clearly all the same. If you have a chart which is different, then tell me it's different and I will go through it. But otherwise, I'm not going to keep looking through these copy-paste charts. You hopefully learn enough from me to be able to do this on your own anyway. But if we have anything about Bitcoin or the macro kind of state of this market or something like that, then definitely drop it in the live chat. If you have enjoyed this stream so far, do me a favor and smash up those likes one more time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and of course check the bell icon so that you don't miss out on this time-sensitive content. The market dumps, the market pumps, doesn't matter. Your boy's here with a live stream. If I'm awake, I'm here. I'm skipping the gym for this, but it's also one of the reasons I want to go now. I'm kind of hungry too, so I don't like going to the gym when I'm hungry, but we'll figure that out. Of course, phenomenal offers available below. Check them out if you are interested. Ondo does not look like the other charts. I'm taking your word for it. Let's take a look. What is Ondo? Yes, you're right. Ondo does not look like the other charts, but it is still in the same position of being at a macro zone of support. with a lot of downside if it does drop. But there's not a whole lot of analysis I can do here. This actually looks like a very fragile chart. It's only been in this range for 17 days. You know, the thing about coins like this is when they come up quite randomly while the market is just kind of doing nothing sideways for the most part, like Bitcoin specifically I'm talking about, and these coins just start like doing crazy shit in that time. That's great. That's actually really fun. But to me, it also means that because they're not really pegged with the health of the market, you can't expect that to stay necessarily either. So that's been my experience. I'm not just trying to say anything bearish or something. That's just how I've seen things. Again, and the analysis is hard to do on this chart because it's a very mushy chart. But yeah, I guess you could say above $1.30, and you're back to pumping town, probably setting all-time highs, and below this low at $1.20, you get below $1.20 with some conviction, and it's probably going to be back down to the big consolidation zone here at 80 cents. That's what I would be watching out for personally. Phil doesn't look like the others. Let's take a look at Phil. Phil doesn't, again, yeah, it doesn't look like the others, but it's got the same situation anyway. Actually, it does look like the others. No, it does. It's got the same situation. Look, it's at a macro zone of support. A big collapse if it loses it. It's kind of in the middle of a range, though. It's a really bad chart. This is even worse to trade, in my opinion. It's even worse. Because you're just in the middle of a range. You know? It would be better if we were down here or up here, you know, then you could say something, but now we're in the middle. So, I don't think that's good. I wish the DXY could be punished. You don't have to wish that, sir. That's gonna happen anyway. SEI. Same situation. Same thing. We're at a low. If you lose it, market collapses. If you get support here, it could be pretty good. I don't have anything to say about these charts. Alright, ladies and gents. Thank you all for tuning in. I need to go to the gym. I've already gotten my pre-workout snack in. Wow, this is 52 minutes on the... See what I mean? At the beginning of the live stream, I was talking about how these are just free steps. They're so easy. I mean, if I was doing 52 minutes outside, first of all, it'd be like 44 degrees Celsius. I'd burn my tits off. And, you know, that's 5,000 steps here on a live stream. That is insane. That is such a W. That is so good. But yeah, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Apologies, I am slightly under the weather right now. My throat will get better soon. FOMC meeting, yeah, we'll see how that goes. S&P 500 open around the corner as well, so I think that's very important. E-Man, hey, thanks for the honest approach. Really glad I found you, my friend. Well, thank you, sir. Very glad that I found you as well. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Beginning of your day, end of your day, middle of your day, whatever it is. Thanks, Sammy. Learned Ichimoku from you 2 years ago. Still my favorite indicator to this day. Amazing, mate. Amazing. Amazing. I will also actually tell you that one of our key analysts on the team, he loves the Ichimoku cloud so much that he wrote his university dissertation on it. That's how much we love the Ichimoku cloud out here in the Four Flies family. Yeah, it is a phenomenal indicator. Very, very useful. Very, very useful. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.